Good afternoon, guys. It's working, bringing you a quick update on Bitcoin. Hope you guys are having a wonderful afternoon. We're looking at Bitcoin to the U.S. dollar. This is the 4-hour chart on Bitfinex, guys. And Bitcoin, it really just continues to impress. It really does. But I'm not sure that this is going to last, and I could really see this going in two opposite directions or in two different directions, guys. I know that's not what you want to hear, but let me just explain what we're watching out for. Clearly, we're finding a lot of resistance right here at about 70, 73.90, 74.20, somewhere in that zone. There's this zone here between 75 and 73.80. This is the decent supply zone. We can see that over here. And we can also clearly see it as price come in here and wicked into it a few times and it's been rejected. If we come up here, we can look at this a couple different ways. If in fact my prior Elliott count is, if this is in fact a leading diagonal, guys, and my prior Elliott count is correct, and I'm not sure whether I'm calling this a 1 and down for the 2 or all of this a 1 and down for the 2. To be honest with you, it really isn't going to make any difference. I still believe either way, we're looking at this as the 3, the 4, and now we're coming up for the 5. Excuse me. And the question is, where is this fifth wave? Well, we know in a leading diagonal we can have our impulse waves, so our wave 1, 3, and 5. Typically, in a normal 5 waves up, you would have 5 impulse waves in wave 1, or excuse me, 5 subwaves in waves 1, 3, and 5. As I said in my last update, in a leading diagonal, they can be only 3 subwaves. You can have 3 or 5. You can have either or. So, assuming that this is my wave 5 here. Okay, let's look at this and see what we're looking at. Assuming that that is my wave 5, and I count this as my subwave 1, 2, right here, my subwave 1, 2, or actually, let me do this better. It could either be a 1, 2, or if we have a 3-wave structure, we could be looking at a 1, 2, 3. So in other words, let me just label that an ABC. I do believe this is be the 1, 2, or the AB, and then we'd be coming up for the C. I'm tempted to leave this wick out of it. And I know that we talked about this being kind of the throwover, but if we look at other exchanges, and we come over here and we look at Coinbase, for example, where the shorts didn't come in, other exchanges where the shorts didn't come in, we don't have that wick. If you look at Coinbase, if you look at Bitstamp, if you look at any of them, we don't have that wick. We only have that wick there because of the shorts on Bitfinex. So if I kind of take a liberty and don't really use that wick in my analysis, so to say, and I kind of look at this as my top for my wave 5. If this is a 3-wave structure, we'd be looking at ABC, and this should be the top somewhere here. Why would that be the top? Well, if I look at this, if I zoom in here, I should say, and I say what would be a logical top for that that 3rd wave, when we go 1, 2, come over here for the 3. Logical top for that 3rd wave, whoever hitting perfectly right now, I mean just perfectly, off of the 2618. That is that coincidence? I don't know. I mean, I leave that up to you. But we are hitting perfectly off the 2618, so that would seem like a logical top for what might be the end of wave 5 if we have a 3-wave structure, or we might be looking at it if it ends up being a 5-wave structure. We could be looking at something like this: 3, bound for the 4, and then up for the 5, and then possible throw over. We'll have to wait and see, or even something like this. It could play out a couple different ways. But either way, it looks like we might be looking at a possible pullback here. Now, whether or not that's the thing that's going to collapse this this entire structure, this is going to be the end of our leading diagonal, or we have one more bounce and then another wave up. Time will tell. But it's also interesting to note that if I come up here and I pull, why is this area so stubborn? If I pull up here, excuse me, if I pull my swing high to swing low, typically everyone's coming up here and they're pulling off of about 8,500. Because that was the top, that was our prior high for the prior bull run. So if I pull that swing high, swing low off of 8,500, we can see that the 618 fib is sitting almost right there at 7,500. In fact, I thought it was. Let me get it right on the bottom. That's why, because I didn't count that wick. I didn't see that wick down there. Now it's making more sense. So yeah, it's literally right there on the 7,500, that 618 fib. So clearly this is going to be a strong support zone. Strong. We've got we can see this was a supply zone here. We can see the top of which is the 618 fib. But it's finding a very strong. I mean, just getting rejected right there at the top at about 7,380, 7,400. Somewhere thereabouts. But if I look at this from an algo's perspective, And remember, you're trading against a lot of algos, guys. Not so many humans, a lot of algos nowadays. Where are algos going to pull that pull their fib off? More than likely, right here. Why? Because this thing moves sideways for so long, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, waiting for a way to break. Well, algos are saying, okay, which way is this going to break? And that's what we're going to use as our swing low or our swing high. It broke down. So as soon as it broke down, what did they do? They grabbed the prior high, which was sitting right there. Okay, so if I look at that, and I come down and I look at where is this thing finding resistance, it's exactly off the 6. If I use that as my pivot high, we're looking at exact hit right off the 618 fib, sitting right there at about 73. Let me get that right on that wick. Yeah, sitting at right at about 73.80. So I mean that's which is about where it's sitting right there, where it hit off. So you can see that inside the golden pocket here, that golden pocket goes as high as about 74.50. So we can see why this is such a strong supply zone. And I guarantee you there are probably some algos that are using either or as a pivot, but I guarantee you there are a lot of algos using this at not 85, but this right here at about 82.90 as their pivot. And that's why we're seeing such a strong resistance right there. A couple reasons, but that's one of the reasons why we're seeing a lot of strong resistance right there, guys. So if I do count this, though, we also know that our shorts are completely stacked. They continue. We see we had this massive influx, and they've just moved sideways ever since. We can see had a little bit of a drop off over the last 12 to 24 hours, but it's finding support right about here. So pretty much it's exactly where it was after the massive influx of shorts came in, which was this wick right here. So if I have shorts that have entered right here, and I do believe that's really the only thing holding this market up right now are these shorts, and it's amazing how this ascending resistance line has been respected this entire way up here, guys. That's just incredible. So this is, if we do get that breakout, we're either going to get a quick throw over followed by a follow, followed by this thing just collapsing, or I think we could just see this thing impulse up. And again, I don't mean to be coy, guys. I don't mean to be one of those analysts that says, hey, it can go up and can go down. Brilliant, right? No, this is one of those times where I really can't see either way. I think the only thing holding these things up is shorts, and if shorts stay stacked or if shorts start to rise here, I think there's a very good chance that price is going to go up. If, however, we see shorts start to fall, and we just had a little bit of a breakdown here. So if we start to see shorts start to fall, and then we come over here to longs, and we start to see longs start to stack, at that point you can be almost guaranteed this thing is going to fall over very, very, very soon. But again, going back to my shorts, what would market makers have to do to liquidate these short positions? They'd have to bring shorts entered. Let's say they entered right about here at about 74.20 or 74.30, right here at the top here. A lot of the shorts entered there. So if I'm taking a short position out at that point, where would I put my stop? I'd come over here. Of course, we always look left to see what's going to happen on the right side. I'd come over here, and if I was a conservative trader, I'd put my stop right above either this prior wick here, which would be sitting right at about 7,500, where I'd have my stop, or I'd have it above this wick here at about 75.25. So let's say it's 75.25. They're going to have to run price up to 75.25 to start to trigger the stop losses on those shorts, at which point those shorts are going to have to be covered, which may bring price even higher. And and that's a real gamble on market makers' point. If they end up doing that, guys, that could when shorts start to cover and they start buying, that could push price right over 7,700. And I do believe if price goes over 7,700, it could be a very quick rise to this zone here, which is the first real resistance above that, which would be at about 8150, 8150 would be the first real zone. And if we start getting into 8150, if we break 8,000, I think a lot of retail investors are going to start to get very interested, and you're going to see what is very weak volume right now. Coming over here, we can see our volume today is at about 4 billion. We can see yesterday, it's sitting at about 4 billion, 4.3 billion, etc. Just very weak volume overall. We're going to see, if we start to see new money enter that market, guys, and we start to see that volume start to tick up, that could very, very easily snowball into an actual bull run. And I do think market makers would like to get in much, much lower, and I don't think they want to trigger a bull run yet. So it's really a balancing act, and it's almost funny to watch price do what it's doing right now. So what I'm going to be watching out for, if this is in fact my 1, 2, 3, and this ends up being a 5-wave structure, I do believe we look at our RSI. What's our RSI doing on the 4 hours? Almost oversold, not quite yet, but certainly looking like it could be right for a pullback, right? If we come over here and we look at the daily, What's the daily doing? Stock RSI has been way over, excuse me, I said oversold before, I mean overbought. The stock RSI is way overbought right now. We can see the 1-day RSI is sitting at about 65, somewhere thereabouts, so getting close to being overbought, not there yet. But again, this has been moving up in a straight line here, guys, and again, yeah, that's rare. You could expect a pullback. So if we do have that pullback, and this is a 5-wave structure, we can see a pullback. Possibly if you wanted to do a scalp trade, I'd have maybe a buy order sitting right here at the bottom of this ascending support with a very tight stop, knowing that this thing could break right down, but then expecting a possible bounce up for one more shortened wave 5 and then just a complete breakdown. But if shorts continue to stack, guys, and if we see price break above this ascending resistance line here, if we see price break above that and get into this zone, get deep into this zone between about, call it 74 to 7,500, without getting a strong reaction, without getting a strong bounce off that, guys, I think that that could be a very, very bullish sign. If we're above that and in this zone, that's going to be a very bullish sign, in my opinion, that we may start to trend up very, very quickly. So I'm going to be watching as long as we remain in this structure, this rising wedge. I'm going to think that eventually this thing's going to topple over. The minute that we break out of this rising wedge by more than a wick, and we come back down, this thing starts acting as support or starts breaking up, or we break above 7,500, I'm going to start to get very, very, very bullish here very quickly. We come over here just very quickly, guys. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. Looking at, this is the 4-hour moving averages. We're sitting on top of the Bollinger Bands, again suggesting a possible pullback. We're up above the 8-day EMA. That's a bullish sign. Looking at the daily, also at the top of the Bollinger Bands, also expecting a possible pullback here would make a lot of sense. We can see the 8-day EMA just moved above the 50-day moving average. That's a very, very bullish sign. So see if that continues, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it there. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, please let me know in the comment section below. As always, guys, I certainly would appreciate an upvote or a like or a re-steam, depending on where you're viewing this. And until next time, guys, please trade safe. This is Working, signing out.